Welcome back to the It's Bigger Than Me podcast. I'm your host, Molly Trotter Gomez. I am so excited to be talking to another Kingdom entrepreneur, Miss Lisa Haley. We are going to have a treat for you here today. Now, I met Lisa in a podcast group because I said, hey, I want to make new friends and I need guests on my podcast, and let's see who resonates. Let's see who's out there. And Lisa was one of those people where she raised her hand. We had a conversation and it was almost like an instant yes. You need to come on the show. People need to hear what you have to say. Being a little bit newer on the Kingdom Entrepreneur side, I love that as well, Lisa. And she's going to share her own story here in just a second, because there are so many things that you shared with me that you're learning and you're seeing and you're realizing in this beautiful world of entrepreneurship, especially how entrepreneurship and the kingdom can really line up and match up. And I know the topic that we're going to be diving into today is really digging in on, your ROI in business, return on investment, and how that really aligns with kingdom principles, with order and process. And anyways, I don't want to spoil it because it's going to be so good. So Lisa, without further ado, please, first of all, welcome to the show, and please share a little bit more about yourself so people can get to know you.
Great. Thank you so much, Molly. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And a little bit about me. I am a wife, a mom, an entrepreneur, an author, and a cyclist. And so I'm a doer, and doers do, right? And so I came out of the local government space where I was in leadership. I was deputy director of finance. I was managing over $163 million worth of taxpayer dollars, investments, finance, all the things. And then the Lord said, I have a different opportunity for you. And so he started to show me that the path for me and my family was entrepreneurship. And that was a whole new journey for me. I'm a lifelong learner. That's one of the other things that I really enjoy. And so I had to learn a whole new skill set after many, many years of being trained in finance. And so I stepped out as recently as August, and I realized right away, if I'm going to do this thing, I need some help. And so I reached out and I invested in some mentors. And one of my mentors, Keith Ferrante, wrote a book called Kingdom CEO. And it just resonated so much in my heart and mind, because the message of the kingdom, it works everywhere, right? And we know that God is a God of order and process. And so there's an order to things. And sometimes we get things out of order. And quite frankly, that was my story. I had things out of order. I did pretty well in local government. I moved up the chain and all the things, but I had some things that weren't working. And typically the order of things that are presented in the book is that obviously God first, right? We want that relationship to be primary. Your second primary is your relationship with your spouse, or if you're not married, your coworkers, your employees. Then it's your kingdom assignment, then the dollars. I have a mentor that says the dollars come last, and there's a reason for that, because it's always issues of the heart. The Bible speaks wildly about money and finance, right? And they're usually connected to the heart. And my issue was I had a blind spot. My relationships with my husband and my kids are great. There were some things, right? There's always some communication
Mm-hmm.
struggles. I didn't realize that that cycle of communication struggles actually can hold you back. And so, as I got into entrepreneurship and was learning under Kingdom entrepreneurs, that hey, that foundation has to be strong, then you can take off, right? So that was sort of my story, and I'm still in process and I'm working on it because, as I said, I'm a new entrepreneur, but I'm realizing that that order and structure that the Lord has for things, that's the way you want to go. That's the way to release ROI. It's connected. Your destiny is connected to people, right? So you got to get the people part right, and then all the other things will be added onto that. So that's really sort of my story and where I launched off at. So hopefully that gives you a little bit about me and what I'm up to.
I love it. And can you see why I wanted her to have her on the show? Like your energy, your zest, your excitement of just being new in this entrepreneurship journey and being excited. There's a lot of people where they do get excited and the flame can die out because they're listening to typically the wrong people, like a bunch of hype and over promising. And like you said, when it starts with relationships and then it progresses from there, that is what needs to be the foundation. Is like you have to be able to serve people in order for this thing to work. But so often people are focused on the money and they have it inverse. And then they're like, why doesn't this work? Well, because people smell your commission breath. And then they're like, I want nothing to do with you. They're like, take a couple breath mints, sit down. I'm good. Bye-bye.
I've never heard that
Don't.
one before. Can I use that one? That's
Um,
good. I like that. I
sure.
like
Yeah,
that.
it's so true though. Like it really is. But when you put people first and then you share what you do, it comes out of a heart posture of this is how I get to serve people. And it's very clear, like anything that you're doing, Lisa, like you come out of that heart posture of how can I get to serve? Because how you got started as an entrepreneur was on a strong foundation and really focusing on the biblical principles, the kingdom principles first. So I would love to dive in, just that connection with ROI, because I think anybody who's listening to this that has a business, they want a return on investment, whether it's from a coach or in their business or something. Like, let me see what I just, put my time and effort to produce something, and how
Right.
that it really aligns with kingdom principles, with order and process and different things. So you brought it up before we pressed record, and I want to hear your take on it. I am ready to take some notes, ma'am.
Absolutely. So if you think about it, right, everything comes out of the heart, and the kingdom is actually inside out. That's why it's so counterintuitive that, oh, if I invest in relationships and I invest in people, that's not going to help my bottom line. It absolutely is going to advance your bottom line, because when those relationships are flowing in an order, the dollars are going to come, because that's going to attract actual people to want to do business with you. So, just as an example, one of the things that I do as part of my entrepreneurship package is I do consulting. And so I consult one-on-one with folks. And what I find is, and this is probably no surprise to you, money tends to be an issue. But when I get into it and I start digging in, it's not really money. It's usually relationship. It's unforgiveness. It's, a hurt from the past or something of that nature that actually is keeping you from advancing. Now, we can all do things for a period of time and it may seem like it's going well, but if you're in for the long haul and for the long run, you want to be set up on a foundation that's going to last, built to last. That's what we like to say. So hopefully that gives you a little insight. You know, it could be anything, Molly. It could be you had a tip with your spouse, and I don't know about you, but usually I'm the extrovert. My husband's an introvert. He's a deep thinker, right? And I've just moved on to the next thing, not realizing that I just steamrolled him. And it's about sensitivity, really, right? And so, a lot of times you'll hear in the world, oh, you got to be empathetic. Well, guess what? You can be empathetic to people outside of your inner circle, but maybe you're a wrecking ball in your inner circle. So it's really about that self-awareness and sensitivity, and realizing you're not as perfect as you think you are, right? Like we all need a little bit of that cup of humility and just self-reflection. And it starts with being honest with yourself. Let's be real. Like everybody thinks they have it all together, but in all honesty, as you start digging in, we all have blind spots. That's why we need the help of mentors and things to help us to grow and get where we need to go.
Oh my gosh. You heard what I heard. I just heard she said you might be a wrecking ball in your inner circle. I'm like, dang, that is some let's just sit back and like self-assess here for a second. And so I'm the same as you. I'm definitely the extrovert in my marriage, and I do the same thing. Sometimes I can be that wrecking ball because I'm like, boom, boom, get out of my way. It's on to the next. And it's like, hold on, back it up here. Like, not everybody is you. And that's probably one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned is like, you can't expect you out of other people. And that
Absolutely.
that that's still to this day, I'm like, okay, like rewind, hold on a second. Not everybody's had your experiences, not everybody's had your thought process, your dot dot dot, all the things. So I love that you said that because it really does matter. And being able to have that awareness is key. Which just goes back to like even before relationships, you got to know yourself. You got to know like where are the blind spots, where are the places that I need to support. And so, part of an ROI, which I'm sure we'll get to here in just a second, is when you hire mentors or you have people in your life that can speak into you, it's coming from a loving and supportive place. They're not trying to tear you down, but they're like, hey, by the way, like, you might want to pay attention to this because this isn't really working so well. Because you have to be able to understand yourself and what your motives are, what your heart posture is before you pour into those relationships, before the rest ensues. So I'm not sure if you have any insight that you love to share on that.
Yeah, it comes down to teachability, right? Because
Mhm.
the Bible says a lot of things about fools. I was reading in Proverbs earlier, and it talks about fools and the behavior of fools. And really, that's somebody who just doesn't listen to input, like you were saying. And so it's a matter of teachability. We have to be able to assess teachability, but we really have to look at it in ourselves. Are we teachable? A lot of times we will say we are. I will
Yes.
raise my hand. Of course I'm teachable. It sounds great. And then when the rubber meets the road, it's like, ooh, that kind of, yeah. You have to sort of you have to embrace those pokes, because that's really where we allow the Lord to come in and soften those spots. We are those of us that are sort of out front and moving quickly and sort of maybe need to work on our sensitivity. That's a gift from the Lord too. It's just a little bit out of whack. We like to say out of alignment, right? And so we want to rein it in a little bit and allow the Holy Spirit to slow us down. And, we're going to get where we need to go. It's just people matter, right? I came out of the service industry. Local government is all about service. The beautiful thing that the Lord's doing with me is I'm now getting the opportunity to serve a little closer to people one-on-one. You get to serve people in government, but in entrepreneurship, it is literally you are hands and feet on the front line, and it's super exciting, but it's also scary because yeah, I've had to do some heart work and really introspect on, hey, where are my blind spots and what do I got to do to grow? So yeah.
Yes, I love that. And you remind me of inside of our company, Kingdom Alliance, you remind me of one of our flagship programs is called the Radiant Leadership Academy. It's a 16-week deep dive into biblical leadership. And it really has that like inside out transformation effect, especially being 16 weeks long, from the thoughts you think, the words you speak, how you manage your wealth and finances, and just stepping into the leader that God's called you to be. What we have taught through and through thousands of people going through this program is you get to be the person that gets to lead people. You get to be the person that stands in the gap, because I think a lot of people want to make a lot of money, have a lot of impact, but the cost of being a leader and really knowing what that means, it's a weighty call and it's a heavy cost. Because really, when the rubber meets the road and somebody's pushing back on you or says something you don't like, or they're not following through with their word or whatever, are you just going to be like, I'm out of here, see you later, let me know when you're ready? Or are you going to dig in a little bit deeper and be like, well, hold on a second, this is what you shared, what changed, what's coming up for you? And really digging in to ask because you care. Because a lot of people can use the mask of, oh, I don't have time, or, oh, I don't have the money. Yeah, I can see right through that. What actually is it? Let's dig in a little bit deeper and let's pull out those fears, or like really like take the time with people. As believers, we get to bear each other's burdens. Not that we take it on as our own, but hey, I want to be there with you and empathize. But then also, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? What is God calling you to do? Not just sit in it and sulk, but sometimes there's a time to be still, and there's a time to take action, and there's a time for everything, right? There's scripture on that, literally a time for everything, and knowing what time it is. But I love that you dug into that, because it is such a beautiful ride with entrepreneurship. But I will tell you, I have had to like really correct my thoughts on some of the people that I've had to lead, or I've gotten to lead and had calls with, because I'm like, Lord, this is a test. And I know it. I know you're testing me right now, because this is really tough. But at the same time, you're only testing me because you know I can do it. It's just a matter of, am I going to do it? And I could just tell, just you being so early in this journey, even though you've had an amazing background of being able to be in a place where you've been able to serve, that you really do just serve and lead from the heart. And that's what people are looking for, Lisa. People are looking for people like you that are real, raw, authentic. And yeah, they're like, where are these people? Searching far and wide. So here she is, everybody. Here's Lisa.
I have to give full credit to my mentors, because they gave language to something that I felt in my heart, but I didn't really grasp. And it is this: love is the best business strategy. That is what we're talking about. You sort of just put the beautiful bow on it, because it is. It's about choosing to love in those moments that, hey, that person really isn't treating me well. And, they're coming strong at me, or the whole bit. We literally, day by day, moment by moment, we get to choose to love. And that is the heart of service, really. So
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. I just love this conversation because it's just real, it's authentic. And I wanted to just make sure we covered as much as we can. I know this is like short and sweet, but just so juicy. Anything else that you'd love to share with us before you let us know how people can connect with you? Anything else at all to kind of wrap things up today?
Yeah, I would say, if somebody is out there listening going, that sounds great in theory, but how actually do you put it into practice? Quite honestly, you make a choice and you decide. It's almost like, you decide in your mind and then get ready, because the resistance is going to come.
Yes.
But then you're in the right place. So I would just encourage people, if you're really serious about wanting to upgrade in your business, in your relationships, in your ROI, choose to love. That is the way. That is the heart of the Father. That is kingdom living, really. So that would be my encouragement for everyone. And if anyone is interested more in about what I do and how I help serve people with the consulting and in my side of the entrepreneurship world, you can reach out to me. I'm at www.seeyousoonlisa.com. I'm also on YouTube. And Molly, this has just been such a joy and a pleasure for me to spend some time with you. And I get super energized talking about kingdom conversations, and this has been a great one.
Yes, no, I mean, it's evident. It's evident you're just bubbling over with joy and excitement. And I love your website, seeyousoonlisa.com. That is rad. So just say it one more time, seeyousoonlisa.com. I love it. So, Lisa, thank you for coming on and sharing your expertise and just being raw and transparent with us. I had a great time today. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much, Molly.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.